Have you ever had one of those days where the floor just drops out from under you? I sure have. Let me take you back a few years. I was working my dream job, or so I thought. I was a senior project manager at a booming tech company. I loved my team, I loved the work, and I was good at it. I was consistently hitting targets, getting stellar reviews, and I genuinely believed I was on the track for a big promotion. I was putting in 60-hour weeks, sacrificing weekends, and pouring my heart and soul into every project. My whole identity was wrapped up in my career. Then came that Tuesday. It started like any other day. I grabbed my usual coffee, sat down at my desk, and started prepping for a big client presentation I was leading that afternoon. Around 10 a.m., I got a calendar invite from HR. The title was just Quick Sync. No big deal, right? I figured it was about my upcoming performance review. I walked into the conference room, and my manager was there along with the head of HR. They both had these grim and readable expressions. My manager, someone I had looked up to, wouldn't even make eye contact with me. That's when the bomb dropped. "We're letting you go." Just like that. No warning, no explanation, no performance improvement plan. Just, "You're done." Effective immediately. I was stunned. I asked why. Of course. The answer was a cold, corporate script: "We're restructuring, and your role has been eliminated." It felt like a punch to the gut. I had just closed a huge deal for them the week before. Restructuring. It made no sense. They handed me a box and watched as I packed up my desk, the pictures of my family, the stupid little plant I've been trying to keep alive. It was the most humiliating walk of my life, paraded past all my colleagues, their faces a mix of shock and pity. I felt like a failure, completely worthless. The first few weeks were a blur. I was angry, I was hurt, and honestly, I was terrified. My confidence was shattered. I spent days just replaying that meeting in my head, trying to figure out what I did wrong. I sent out dozens of resumes, but my heart wasn't in it. Every rejection felt like another confirmation that I was unemployable, that they were right to fire me. I hit rock bottom. I remember sitting on my couch one afternoon, staring at the wall, just feeling completely empty. The severance pay was running out, and the pressure was mounting. But then, something inside me shifted. Maybe it was the anger turning into fuel, or maybe it was just the sheer will to survive. I realized that wallowing in self-pity wasn't going to pay the bills or rebuild my life. I decided that this wasn't going to be the end of my story. This was going to be the start of a new chapter. I had to stop seeing myself as a victim and start seeing myself as a survivor. That's when the idea first sparked. It was a tiny little flicker of a thought, born out of frustration with the industry. During all those years at my old company, I'd noticed a huge gap in the market. There was a specific type of software solution our clients were always asking for. Something our company and its competitors just weren't providing effectively. We always used clunky, inefficient workarounds. I had even pitched a project to develop this exact solution a year before. I was fired, but management shot it down, saying it was too niche. But I knew they were wrong. I knew there was a real need. So, I started sketching. Late at night, fueled by cheap coffee and a burning desire to prove them wrong, I began outlining the entire concept. I dusted off my old coding skills and started building a rough prototype. I reached out to a couple of trusted former colleagues, people who I knew were also frustrated with the old company's lack of vision. One was a genius developer, and the other was a marketing whiz. I laid out my plan for them. I was completely transparent. I had no money, no office, just an idea and a whole lot of determination. To my surprise, they were in. They saw the potential I saw. We worked out of my garage, which we jokingly called our global headquarters. The next year was the hardest I've ever worked in my life. We poured every penny we had into this venture. We lived and breathed this project. There were so many moments of doubt, so many times we were on the verge of giving up. We faced technical glitches, funding shortfalls, and constant stress. But every time we hit a wall, I just picture that cold conference room, that look of pity on my colleagues' faces. And it pushed me forward. That humiliation became my ultimate motivation. Finally, the day came to launch our product. We were terrified but also incredibly proud. We started small, targeting a few key clients we knew were desperate for a solution. The response was immediate and overwhelming. Word of mouth spread like wildfire. Our niche product wasn't so niche after all. Within 6 months, we were profitable. Within a year, we were a major player in the space. We were innovating faster, moving quicker, and listening to our customers in a way the big, bloated corporations just couldn't. And now for the brutal part of the comeback. About 2 years after I was fired, my old company, the one that threw me out like trash, started feeling the heat. They were losing clients, and guess who they were losing them to? Us. Their stock was dropping, and their board was getting nervous. And then, the ultimate irony happened. I got a call. It was from a broker representing my old company. They wanted to talk about an acquisition. They wanted to buy us. I took the meeting. I walked into their gleaming, expensive headquarters, but this time, I wasn't an employee being called to the principal's office. I was the one in the power seat. And sitting across the table from me was my old manager. The guy who couldn't even look me in the eye when he fired me. The look on his face. Priceless. He tried to act casual, but I could see the desperation. We listened to their offer. It was a lot of money, more than I could have ever imagined. It was tempting. But it was never about the money. It was about respect. It was about proving my own worth, not just to them, but to myself. So, after they laid out their big, impressive offer, I looked my old boss straight in the eye and smiled, and said, "No, thank you. We're not for sale." And then I added, "But we are hiring. And it seems like you might be looking for a new role soon." The silence in that room was deafening. Walking out of that building was one of the best moments of my life. It wasn't about revenge in a hateful way. It was about vindication. It was about turning the worst day of my life into the foundation for my greatest success. So if you've ever been knocked down, if you've ever been told you're not good enough, don't let it break you. Let it build you. Let it be the fuel for your own brutal comeback. That pain can be your greatest superpower. Thanks for listening to my story. If you've got a comeback story of your own, I'd love to hear about it in the comments below. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe for more content. See you next time.